Hello and welcome to Producer Profile. Producer Profile is a show where we showcase some of the talented people who work behind the scenes in the entertainment, business, and local communities while making positive influences on the lives of others.
Welcome to Producer Profile. I'm Stella Winston.
And I'm Orville Nelson.
Now, these names, Jim Taylor, Britton Johnson, who was the best shot in Texas, Jesse Stahl, Bossy Icor Topham, Nat Love, Deadwood Dick, Arthur L. Walker, Cherokee Bill, Ben Hodges, Mary Fields, Isam Dart, Bill Pickett, Charlie Glass, and the Rufus Buck Gang. All these are names of black cowboys.
And I was wondering what you were talking about there for a moment.
Now, when Langston Hughes was advising an author who was writing a book on the Black West, he said, don't forget the black cowboys. Very important. They played a significant role in the development of this country. And today, guess what?
We have Izell Glover.
And he's a black cowboy. And we are honoring cowboys today by having him here. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
Welcome, Izell. Now, when you introduced him, I also learned from speaking with him here that he's also an educator.
That's correct.
So not just a black cowboy, but also an educator. And an artist. A professor. And an artist.
And a musician.
Yes, a little bit.
You play the guitar.
That came with the research and the history of the West and how how big of a role the black cowboy played in Western development and American history. It's awesome. It's really awesome. I just became overly impressed with the legacies of our forefathers, the black men of the West, have laid down for me. Also uncovered some of the fabrications that literature, texts, and just the educational system has left behind.
Now we're hearing some cowboy music now.
Oh yeah, it's one of my favorites by Randy Travis, which kind of opens with one of my poems, or the Ballad of the Black Cowboy, which says, Hollywood, where some of those forgotten cowboys, they're around and they're as real as road dust in your eyes. And down through the years, they've been far from remembered. They're the ones the big silver screen fade away and let die. And some of our fathers were some hardworking cowboys who taught many to use a rope to sit a saddle and ride. But when I hear of the cowboys they speak of, it's the ones they forgot that hurt these cowboys inside. So Hollywood, where the movie star heroes, gone are the legends and the names, and where the answers for the mothers and fathers when the little black cowboys and cowgirls start asking their names. And I rode alongside some hard-riding black cowboys who were fence-mending black cowboys at their best. But our little ones, they never see us as heroes in the movies. In back of their mind, they know we helped settle the West. So Hollywood, where this movie star heroes, I won't let the legends die in vain. And where the answers for the mamas and papas when those little black cowboys and cowgirls start asking their names.
Very nice.
Now, what you just recited, that is, what is that?
It's the Ballad of the Black Cowboy. It's one that me and Jay Mason started about 30 years ago when I used to take my old saddle, because I have a stable of horses, and we used to go around to all the schools in Bed-Stuy, Brownsville, East New York, and a few in Manhattan also. And I would talk about the Black West, where I was being laughed at certain times. But then again, after I pulled my guitar and harmonica and with Jay and so forth, and we began to hit a nice little chord, and we got everybody to listen to what we had to say.
Well, what you're doing is very important, because the early heroes of this country are the cowboys.
Yes.
And the images that are put across are John Wayne and in the movies.
Right.
So what you're doing is very important. Now, we have several pictures here.
Right.
Now, we're going to begin with Nat Love.
Oh yeah, it's
better known as Deadwood Dick, right?
Right.
So there's a little story that he's going to tell us about.
Oh yeah, well, Nat Love, we can begin with him. That's a good beginning because he was born in Tennessee in 1853, and as a young boy of about say about 10, 12 years old, he started breaking horses for 25 cents a horse, and he wanted to leave home because he had that feeling to want to get out into the West, like most cowboys. Most cowboys experience that. Once you get that feeling of understanding horses and to ride the open fields, I mean, black men was just like white men, especially when Horace Greeley said, "Go west, young man." Black men did it also. So Nat, he took off, and after he reached the age of 13 or 14 years old, he saved up enough money to head west. He went down to Texas, and he hooked on with an old trail herd that was taking cattle. This particular time, they were taking cattle from Texas to South Dakota. They had about 10,000 head of cattle from Texas to South Dakota. You're talking about approximately 4,000 miles. Now, you had to be rough and rugged. I mean, Nat was about 16 years old at the time, and had a sidekick that was with him by the name of Lee Willie. Now, this is some of the things I found in research, and also I may hit on certain names such as Remington and Charles Russell, which are white artists. But what happened, they gave you illustrations and drawings of that experience from Texas to South Dakota. So after they made it through the nature's elements of the thunder, the lightning, which we have with some of the drawings, they finally made it there. And when they got there, he saw a big sign that said Buffalo Bill's Wild West Rodeo and Shooting Contest. So with that, he entered the rodeo, which he and Lee Willie had mastered all of the sports of bareback bronc riding, calf roping, and bulldogging.
No, that's what's his name?
Nat Love.
Otherwise known as?
Otherwise known as Deadwood Dick. Now,
Now, number one, you have one piece here that you're going to show.
Right.
Now,
Before Deadwood Dick, explain why that nickname? Why did he get
the shooting
that?
contest. Now, to make the long story very short, what happened? He entered the contest, which had Annie Oakley, Wild Bill Hickok, just before he was killed in 1876, and Nat Love, and himself in this. So the idea was to throw 3 coins in the air, which is called a turkey shoot, and you have to hit the coins before they hit the ground. So the first one, naturally, Annie Oakley, ladies first. The referee, he slung the coins high up in the air, and she shot, bam, 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 3 shots. And picked up first coin. She hit this one. She missed this one. The third one, oh, she hit this one too. So she got 2 of the 3. And then the next was the famous Wild Bill Hickok. Now, if you understood history, or if you read history, Hickok was an alcoholic. The guy drank a lot. This particular time, he was on a festive occasion.
Now tell me
drank a
something,
lot.
Hickok. Do you have an image of him here also?
No, I don't have an image of him.
What we have here is Deadwood Dick.
Deadwood Dick, right.
And let's see that. Let's see
Okay.
that.
But did you finish telling why he was Deadwood Dick?
No, well,
Okay.
not quite.
Okay.
How we got the title Deadwood Dick is very important, because what happened after Annie Oakley shot, and she got 2 of the 3 coins, then it was Hickok. Hickok, they threw the coins up in the air since he was just about drunk, and he pulled out his gun and shot, bam, bam, bam. His 3 shots, he hit nothing. As a matter of fact, everybody hit the dirt. Then it was Buffalo Bill. Now, everyone had forgot the young Negro cowboy of Nat Love and stand in the background. So Buffalo Bill stepped up, and he had this special made gun, which is well noted all over the world, and they threw the coins up before him, and he shot, bam, 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 his 3 shots. He said, Bill hit this one. Bill hit this one too. He knew he hit the second one. He said, Bill missed this one. It was a tie between Annie Oakley and Buffalo Bill. And they forgot there was a Negro by the name of Nat Love. And so they said, look, okay, Negro, you're next. So they called him out to the stage, and he stood out. And this particular time, to show you how we've always had it rough, the sun was high, and the face in the sun at your back when Annie Oakley and Hickok rest would shoot, so the sun at your back so you can see your coins. But what happened with this one, he wanted to make sure that Nat, you're not going to hit these coins. So what happened, the referee, he took the coins and threw them right into the sun. Now Nat, with his cowboy hat on, knew that you pull that hat down over your eyes, and just as those coins come down before, under the shade of the eyes, and you fire as fast as you can. Now, Nat had an old 1850 coat. He whipped out his coat when he threw the coins. He shot, bam, bam, bam. The referee went over, picked the coins. He says, he hit this one in amazement. He picked the second. By gosh, he hit this one too. He looked around for the last coin. He picked this. By gosh, the Negro hit all 3 of them dead center. And that's how he got the title Deadwood Dick.
Deadwood Dick.
And a lot of people talk about that. You have to research that.
Oh.
It's a very interesting story.
Oh,
You got that. I use it with my kids to get them to know that you have to keep trying. No matter how hard the opposition is, hang in there as long
Even
as you
with
can.
the sun in your eyes.
Even with the sun in your eyes.
Because it's
You got that
always
right.
been that we, as people of color,
Right.
just had to do a little bit more, go a little extra
That's right,
distance.
you have to
And
go
I think
a
that
little
story proved that.
That's right.
Now, let's check out this piece of art that you have here.
Number 2. Okay, and this is directly to your left. And what do we see here?
Okay, this is called the Negro Roper. Here, that's a transition between the 1850s of Nat Love up to about 1950. Here,
And that's which one is that?
that's
Which one
the
is
one
it?
at the top
This one
here.
right here.
Okay. Okay.
And that's going to come on camera in a moment.
Okay.
Our camera person's getting that up. Now,
Oh, I see. We're actually talking about this one.
So with this one, okay, what we could do, we could go hand down for the one at the bottom here. That shows you Nat Love and see, 3 out of every 15 Cowboys were black, Native American, or Mexican. And that's a part of history. Matter of fact, everybody writes about that because if he wasn't the cook, which is an excellent cook. When they had a black man on your trail drive, there was a cook. Matter of fact, they would kidnap black men because they were such great cooks. When it comes to sourdough biscuits, the beef jerky, we call it the beef with black molasses and honey. They could. When you're on a trail drive 4 to 5 months and you got a bad cook, that's the worst thing you could ever want to do.
okay, now you have so much information that we want to get to. And I would really love to see a little bit more of the pieces here.
Okay.
So
we're up to now number 3, which is right next to it at the bottom.
Okay, right next to it, that's called Stampede. Stampede is something that usually happens at every trail drive because you have wild animals that'll spook a herd. Most important, you have nature, the thunder, the lightning, the rainstorms that would crackle and it would spook a herd. And you got 10 to 15,000 head running. That means that if you don't have your point guard that's fast enough, in other words, a man that's excellent with his horse. You see your front turner. He takes that fast horse, which is usually a black guy in the front, who's going to risk his life because he bumps the herd and he turns it into a semicircle. As you can see, the circle starting to turn there. So you turn the herd into a circle and you get them to wind down in one place because other than that, they'll run off a cliff territory that you don't know, and then you lose 5,000 or 6,000 head.
What's a cow punch?
A cow punch. Cow punches are basically wranglers that work on a ranch, and those are the guys that go out. You rope the lost steers, or you find stray steers. You bring them in and you brand them. You throw him. He's a good roper. He ropes them down. You tie him down. You put your brand on him, and he does basically a lot of the wrangler work. Cow puncher or wrangler is the same thing.
Question in terms of the medium that you work in. What are you working in there?
Oh, thank you. The medium is watercolor, which is, I love the water. I'm a pen and ink, some say are the strongest with, but I love the watercolors because here you get the freedom and it's quick. In other words, you can express a feeling. In other words, you could just take a number 2 or 3 brush and you go across the top of your canvas. You lay down the color and you can add about 2 or 3 more undershots with it. You got a beautiful sky that's totally creative. In other words, I leave it to the viewer to place him or herself into observing the whole composition of the picture.
Now, this image here, is this totally from your mind? Or
yes, it's from everything. Or I do everything from my mind. It's just the idea of just
I thought maybe you'd actually
experiencing.
seen a place just like
Well, yeah, I've seen places like that. I've been to Oklahoma, Kansas. I've been all, and the Air Force, I had a chance to go around the country.
So the one right next to it, that's...
Okay, right next to it is after the stampede starts, you find that it's called Nick of Time. And here you find some of the accidents or some of the hazards that you confronted with. Here, it's one of the Cowboys go down. His horse breaks a leg. His leg is trapped under the saddle, which has happened.
Yeah.
And the idea, you got a few thousand head of cattle. They'll trample you. There's not enough to put in a matchbox. So what happened, you know he's in danger. So someone has to try to do or die to try and grab him. So he has his horse and he drives on beside him. He reaches down, he'll try to grab the back of his jacket within a hair of a second. And if you look at that, you got several steers that have been seconds of crushing him to death, him and the horse. So it's called a nick of time. And here, basically, it's the experience of wanting to save my best friend.
In the nick of time.
Nick of time.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So you kind of leave that to the viewer. Will he make it?
Okay.
Now, where do we go here from?
Okay, now we're at the one right next to you.
Right. Okay.
And
Thank you. Right.
Number 5.
Right. Number 5. This is called the Negro Roper. Here, this is entails all of the experiences of what I talked about and what I would love to talk about here. Here, it's from a setting where I keep my horses at Cedar Lane Stables. That's exactly where one of my horses was. I sketched that as he stood outside and kind of picture myself as 70, possibly 80 years old, and still the old Negro roper. He's good with the rope. In other words, I may not be as fast with it, but I can pass it on to young people, young boys that would like to learn how to rope and ride.
And that looks like pen and ink.
Yeah, it is pen and ink. Mm-hmm. I use a Rapidio pen, and I sketch first, and I go over it with the pen, and just to capture the feeling, perspective, the depth to it, and to give you the character and his shoes, his hands, his hat, his clothing. You can see it's almost nostalgic. It's not like your drugstore cowboy, but he's real.
Now, was it Cedar Line Studios?
Cedar Lane.
Cedar Lane Studios. And where is that?
That's on the Conduit and Linden Boulevard.
And I wanted to mention the Federation of Black Cowboys. Are you a member of that?
Well, I formulated those guys about 25 years ago, which we first started with the Black Cowboy Association, and then from that to the Federation, and then the African Horsemen.
Now, Professor Glover, you have a very interesting childhood that is connected with that particular piece of land on which you have the ranch. Can you please tell us a little bit about how your connection with it from childhood?
Yeah, and just going back with that, it was quite an experience because when I was like 10, 12 years old, in Bed-Stuy, we had the old horse carriages. And some of you people that are viewing this movie, or this video, I mean, you understood, say 40 years ago, we had the horse and carriage. We'd come 7 o'clock, 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. And what I would do, I would go down to Cedar Lane, and Cedar Lane has been there for about 80 years now. I would go down there, and me and about a dozen other young Negro boys and some Puerto Rican boys, we wait around for the wagons to come out. When the wagons come out, they would hire us to work for $1.50 a day and all of our tips. And what we do, we load the trucks up because Cedar Lane, it was like a farmland. They had fruits and vegetables that they farmed down there.
How long ago was this?
This is about, well, for me, it's a little more than, say about 45 years ago that I started doing this. And we would load the horse wagons up, and then we'd come right down Linden Boulevard, which is used to call the trail ride on the service lane, all the way up, and then we go into, some go into Bed-Stuy, East New York, Brownsville, and so forth. And it would sell their fruits and vegetables. We were the callers. We were Waddy Nap, and we got carrots, And sometimes the old timers, the old guys, matter of fact, was one, he just died about a year ago, was Rice, called him Jonesy. And we used to try to get down there with him because he knew how to pick out the horses. And we let us drive the wagons, and we call out, we got carrots, we got lettuce, we got corn, we got all this stuff, and the people come to the window. They said, bring me up a pound of this and a pound of that. And we have to run up the stairs, they get it 10 cents for, and do that all day from about 12 hours. You made yourself about $5.
That's good money for back then.
Back
for
then,
a boy.
For a boy, $5 a lot.
Yeah, excellent.
But that's something that I did a painting. I wish I had it to show it, but it shows, I think it was Lexington Avenue between Stuyvesant and Lewis, where I grew up. And I know we should come through there because my mother said, make sure it comes right because I want to get some vegetables and so forth.
No, Izell, you're a wealth of information. You mentioned earlier, he said that you used to, or do you still currently go around to schools in the
Yes,
Brooklyn?
I do when I have time. With bookings, I try to get to at least 3 or 4 schools a month.
How would someone get in touch with you? Black Cowboys,
Federation
of Black Cowboys.com?
No, it's Aesthetic Eclipse, Izell Eclipse at AOL.com.
Would you spell that out?
That's it's one word. Aesthetic is the Aesthetic Eclipse, IZELL A Eclipse ECLIPSE.com.
Now, Federation of Black Cowboys.com. You are related to that.
Well, yeah, I keep my horses, and we all keep our horses at the same places. But I'm a little too involved with my working and my painting and my horses that. So, you know, we support each other, which I do a lot of their presentations for them. Matter of fact, we just finished one for some of the schools during the summer. Every summer, they ask me to come down and do presentations on the West for them.
What is the name of your horse?
One of my horses, my first horse, that's Nia Purpose from Dinguza Saba. And the one I have now, matter of fact, I'll be taking him to the vet tomorrow. That's Imani, Faith. It's Purpose and Faith. And they're 2 of the finest horses I've had so far. I've had quite a few. I had several. And both of them have individual personalities that I think only I relate to.
Where did you learn to ride horses?
I learned to ride at Prospect Park. I started by cleaning out stables for 25 cents a stall to mark out the stalls. And they would let me, basically it can pay me 25 cents for each stall that you clean, and then every now and then I got to be such a good rider that they let me take tour groups out, and I would make more on the tour groups where I've got as much as $5 in tips because I take them around Prospect Park and give them different sites, and they just complimented me on being such a good escort so far. So it was my pleasure to do that for all of them.
Now
we have one more
One
piece,
more, all the way at the end.
That's my favorite piece so far.
Now, why is that your favorite piece?
Because it's a man, and it's an older man. He seems like a mature man with a child. It's beautiful.
Okay. All right.
That kind of relates to He Walked on Water, and by Randy Travis also. And it kind of relates to that third generation where the old-time cowboy that's wants to pass on that legacy to his grandson. The third person or the contemporary family's not there. They're out making the life. But it's so much what we can do as grandparents once you reach that phase in life that you have your sage, you're someone that have an information resource channel, you're that bridge to get over. And as grandparents, we can do much more. And I kind of look forward to orientating grandpeople as grandparents, and letting them know that have the dialogue with your grandchildren. That's the best experience, because that's your future right there.
Well, this tape is being recorded right after the tragedy of the World Trade Center. And we're going to take a musical interlude, and it's going to be Sade, and it's entitled "Nothing Stands Between Us," and it's a tribute to the World Trade Center survivors and their families.
Yes.
Okay. Sade put some time aside for tribute, a silent tribute,
Yes.
with Sade.
And we've been talking with Cowboy Professor Izell Glover. And he's been telling us some interesting things about black cowboys.
And we wanted to make sure that people at home can get in touch with Izell. And we wanted, first of all, Izell and the Black Federation of Black Cowboys. Could you give a number?
Right. We have a website that's excellent. I'll give you the number. It's www.aestheticeclipse, one word. That's AESTHETICECLIPSE.com.
We'd love for you to give it again, but we need a phone number now.
Okay, the phone number is area code 718-434-0345.
Would you give that again, please?
Area code 718-434-0345.
Okay, well, thank you for watching Producer Profile. Again, thank you, Mr. Glover.
Thank you for
Professor.
inviting me.
Yes, and I'm Stella
It's
Winston.
been a lot of fun.
I'm Orville
Yes, it
Nelson.
has.
And thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for next time.
Right.